Hello, good morning. Welcome to Auntie Yaa'S Book Corner. It's Auntie Yaa'S Book Club. Today we're having a book read and we'll be talking about fear. And Auntie Yaa'S Book Corner came about because of the books that I have written, and I'm going to show them to you. Give me a second. I hope that you're having a good Thursday. We just started the month of May as usual. We're just running through it so fast. Today's already the 11th. So I will pop up the books here. So here are the books. Reflection for My Thirsty Soul. Now my claim to fame is this, that I wrote 4 books in a span of 3 years during the COVID time. So the first one here is Reflection for My Thirsty Soul. It's an inspirational book. You can find it on Amazon. The second one is The Beauty of a Woman's Heart. It's a book for women, and a 10-year-old can even read it. Men can also read it. Just different topics that inspires and empowers women. And the third one is Refreshing for My Weary Soul. It is a devotional. So I take my insights from the Bible when I read it and I share my thoughts on those passages. The fourth book is Own It, which is a guide to taking responsibility and accountability for your own life journey. A lot of times, we don't want to take responsibility for ourselves. We think other people should do things we are supposed to do ourselves. So this book is helpful in, setting you on that path of taking charge of your own life. And so my fourth book, which will be coming out this year, is My Unapologetic Self, a guide to being real and living life on my own terms. Many of us are living scripts that have been given to us. We are fulfilling our parents, society, other people's expectations of us instead of our own. Sometimes you need to sit down, take stock, get out of those places and become your own self. So today the topic is fear, and it's from my book, Refreshing for My Weary Soul. So what I'll do is I'll read the information about the book, and I write, "Hello and welcome to Refreshing for My Weary Soul." Why this title, you might be wondering, I'm sure. Our lives are so stressful that we get so wearied of life. Where do you turn, or what grounds you in your stressful moments? This is a question that you must answer. For me, my faith has been my greatest source of comfort. The Word of God gives me such peace, comfort, and joy. In this devotion, I share different insights I have gained from reading my Bible in a simple way that I hope will keep you engaged. I have applied my storytelling skills to ensure that you gain the best out of this experience. I pray you receive refreshing for your weary soul. Happy reading. And here's the book. You can get it on Amazon. So, with that, just give me a few moments and I'll go share to groups and we shall come back and continue. Okay, we're almost there. Don't mind me. I say we're almost there, but we're not quite there yet. Hang on. Okay, so yes, that's one more thing. All right, so let's continue. So today we are talking about fear. What does fear mean to you? This is a devotional, and I wrote about fear because of You know, I always talk about things from a cultural perspective and the way that I was raised. A lot of people in my community, especially, we say we are believers, but I think that we allow the word of God to limit us. Hello, Tony. Good morning. I hope you are doing well. We allow the word of God to limit us. Instead of living by it, it puts fear in us. And then, of course, the cultural values too don't help. The timidity that's instilled in us. So we think that as Christians, we're called upon to be timid. But look through the Bible and think about the verses that talk about boldness. Even Jesus was not afraid to be bold. He told people, he called people out. So fear, it's not a good thing, because if you're living in fear, you'll never ever fulfill the destiny that God has called you on this earth to be and become. So when we say fear, what is it? It's like when you're anticipating danger or you are aware of some danger coming near you. And sometimes some fears too are innate. There are people that when you pass by them or you surprise them, then they get, they jump, they get jittery. I'm saying that I'm laughing because my second daughter is like that. If you go on her unexpectedly, then, and I'm like, oh, come on. So when I'm approaching the kitchen and I know she's there, I'll start knocking on the door so she'll be aware that somebody is coming in. And so one time she came into the kitchen and I was surprised. I jumped. So she started laughing at me. She says, oh, I got you this time, Mom. Look at you too, right? So, yeah. And then some fears too are acquired from our experiences of social learning. And with us is the social learning, what we were taught. Don't do this, don't do that. So even when you want to undertake something, you don't tell people. And it's not good either. Sometimes you need to open up to trusted people so they can give you advice. But because of the fear and the things that we do to each other, we won't open up and we'll go by ourselves into situations and maybe fail. But say we had told one person, they might have given us a tip to help us. Yeah. So for me, like we have all kinds of fear. There's people who are afraid of heights, we're afraid of insects, we're afraid of crowds. I don't like crowds. Like when I'm going into, I mean, like if you're going to a shopping mall, obviously it's crowded. But the thing about it is, you pick the times that you want to go there. We have a very big mall here, West Edmonton Mall. I wouldn't go there on a Saturday or a Sunday. Go during the week because it will be quieter. There'll be people there, but it will be quieter and calmer. And then too, if I'm going grocery shopping, I don't like crowds, so I go later at night. But I've told myself that now that I'm retired, even the best time is if you go early in the morning. It opens at 8 o'clock. Go do your shop. Everything is freshly stocked, I'm sure. So you'll just go pick up your stuff, come home, and continue with the rest of your day. But the reason why I'm talking about fears, to me, I see it in two aspects. There's a reverential fear of God. There's some, though, because of the way we were taught and brainwashed with the Christian faith, we think that God is this terrible God who's watching you, monitoring you, and going to cut you down when you do anything wrong. Yeah, it used to happen in the old days, right? But you as a person, you know, a reverential fear is such that you fear you fear the person, but you're not, afraid of them. Like a child, for example, you have to teach the child that fear that the parent, you are the one in authority. But if your child is afraid of you and can't come to you, then it's a different problem. The fear that I'm talking about is teaching the child, respect for authority, that, hey, this is dad, this is mom. When they say this, they mean it. But when you are afraid of people, you are afraid of authority, you're afraid of everything, you don't get ahead in life. Yeah. So what are some of the signs of fear? You have an increased heart rate, your breathing is faster or you are short of breath, and some even get sweats and chills. Like when you get into nervous situations, or maybe you're meeting somebody or you're going to write an exam and you're afraid, you start to break out in these chills or sweats. And there's a word, I don't know if I'm using the right word, it's called acrostic. I'll check it up after. False evidence appearing real. I don't know who thought of this, but they are bang on. fear, false evidence appearing real. I've said time and time again that sometimes the things that we think about and fear, have so much fear about don't even come to pass. So you've wasted your time, your energy, your brain power worrying about something or fearing something that won't even happen. So basically, when you say, what are some of the effects of fear? And I picked some of this from the book. Fear immobilizes us. It stops you in your track. You can't speak up. Sometimes you're in a situation and you need to say something, and your views are important. Uh-huh. Very important, but because of timidity, you'll keep quiet. A lot of us have been, how do I explain it? We've been cowered into submission, like, don't talk. If you talk, they'll say you're a bad person because that's what the society says. Don't speak, hold your tongue, be quiet, be respectful. So we have a whole bunch of people, adults and children alike, who are timid, who are docile. And you know what you see on social media now? I've said it time and time again, trauma, because we have no outlet for the pain that is in us. If you have I don't even know if I'm describing it properly, like you put something in a plastic and it's like it's in there, like you're squishing it, like we blow up because something inside us that has to come out is not coming out. We've not been allowed to express ourselves. So people like you and I sitting here that we come and talk, they'll give you names. They'll tell you are this, you are that. You talk too much. What predator? Yeah. And of course, the other thing is fear silences us. Being bold is seen as evil in our Christian culture. Can you imagine? But if you go to Google, a lot of us maybe even we don't. How do I explain it? We don't even. Well, I'll speak for myself. I'm somebody that before I used to have my scriptures on cue cards. I barely look at them anymore, but as you grow older, it's even hard to memorize them. But when you hear people speaking or you're listening to some preaching and the person is quoting that scripture, you know what is coming after it. But when you get asked, you can't say it in its entirety. You know bits and pieces of it. But it's like with us, when you go, so that's what I'm talking about Google. If you go Google verses on boldness or courage, you'll see what comes up. It's in the Bible. So why are you, the believer, living in fear? Because the culture has programmed you that way. I come from an African culture, Ghana to be precise. So I speak of what I know, and it still goes on. So, being bold is seen as evil, especially if you're a woman. Oh, she talks too much. Oh, she's this. You know, there's a lady back home. I won't mention her name, but um, she's well known for empowering women. And more recently, the things that people are saying about her marriage and on, just castigating her because of who she is. Why? Because she stands up. And then you ask yourself, how can you be yourself when you live in such an environment? Because people are so harsh, so judgmental, they won't allow you to be yourself. So a lot of people, especially women, are silenced. Just picture this. You know those pictures that we see with band-aid across their mouth? You are silenced. I have been in environments like that before. And when I got out, I'm able to talk now. When I turn on my camera, who is going to come and silence me unless I'm talking garbage? But you need to be yourself. On this earth on which you are, you need to be yourself. You need to find yourself. The other effects of fears, the impact on self esteem. Yes, I just said we can't be ourselves. We're afraid to offend others. Oh, I can't say this to Tony. Oh, if I say this, Tony won't like me. So even though he's doing something that's not so great, let me just back him up. And a lot of us do these things. We won't correct our friends. If you're my friend and I see you doing something that I don't agree with and you're offended, well, That's it. I'll leave you to your own devices. If the friendship is a strong one, you'll come back and say, oh, yeah, I know, I realize now what I did was wrong. But if it's meant to go, you let it go. It's not everybody who's supposed to come along with you. So don't sell your values or compromise your integrity for people's bad behaviors because they are your friend. What kind of a friend are you if you're not going to be bold enough to tell somebody they are doing something wrong? Yes, and the same applies to you. They should also be able to call you out when you do things that are not right. And so the other thing impact is or effect is you become a people pleaser. People suck up. You suck up to people to get things from them. Oh, master, boss, this and that. It doesn't matter what they do to you, you'll grovel. I saw a post by Pastor Teresa this morning about not groveling before men because pretty soon they'll come and say that they are the ones who made you. The only person, the only that you can fear on this earth. I say, I fear God, I respect men, but I'm not afraid of a man. And when you say that, people think you don't respect. But even the Bible tells you fear of man brings a snare. So if there's an authority figure and they're even doing something is going wrong, you should be able to have the boldness to offer your suggestions in a very respectful manner. It's up to them whether they take it or not. At the end of the day, you can live with yourself. Your conscience is clear because you did the right thing. And the other thing is that, uh, in our community, everybody would like this master, this and that. When you come to Abrochi in the diaspora, everybody is the same. When you go to the grocery shop, you don't know if that is the CEO or some big honcho in some organization, or even on the train, right? But there's levels. So you see, a lot of times where I watch and laugh at a lot of TikTok skits, it's either somebody slapping somebody, are you stupid? Are you this? Are you that? Or pouring water on people because they are poor. Who does that? What is that all about? You know? So the people pleasing, you have to suck up to, oh, yes, I'm answer this and that. How do you feel when you keep doing this? You are not being truthful to yourself. So from the people pleasing, we go to fear leads to a lack of what do you call it? Backbone. You become a chameleon because you can't speak up for yourself. You are not bold. You are not courageous. Whatever situation you go into, you adapt yourself to fit it. It's hurting you, but you'll do it. You go into a situation with friends and they are laughing at somebody and you join in, but you know that it's not right. What they are doing to that person or that woman or that man is wrong. You know it, but because you are so weak, you want to belong, so you go along with it. And that person that you are doing it to, they know you, they know you know them, they know you, and they can tell that you are not comfortable, but you are doing it because you don't have a backbone. And also, fear makes you indecisive. You can't make decisions or take action because we'll offend others or we'll think we'll fail. And in our community too, we are big on that. When you do great things, people won't come and say, wow, well done. Oh yeah, they won't what do you call it? They won't congratulate you, they won't praise you, they'll just be watching you. But when you fall down, oh yeah, where did they think they were going? I knew they couldn't do it. And then they'll be sitting there saying all kinds of things. Shame on you. So even fear without it's not only about offense, like you don't believe in yourself enough. So you think, I can't do it. And you are sitting there. Also, fear makes us judge our self-worth by other people's standards. You need to take a stand for yourself. Tell yourself, this is me. This is who I am. It doesn't matter what people think. I'm going to do what I have to do. And that's the end of it. So basically, fear, there's advantages to it if you can channel it and use it in a positive way. So we're going to talk about how to overcome fear. You have to be able to identify your fears, and this will help you confront them. I remember that when I was working, I'm retired now, and I'm given tasks, and then I'm thinking about it. The easy ones I do easily enough. But until I can attack the more difficult ones, then I have this sinking feeling in my head, in my mind. It's hanging over me, and I tell myself, no, you have to do it. Then, as soon as you pick it up or you write out a plan for it and you start addressing it, there you've confronted the fear. So, you need to ask yourself, why do you feel nervous when it's time to go make a presentation, say in class or church or wherever? And then you realize that it's because you feel that you are not good enough, or you feel that you don't talk, you're not able to express yourself very well. You've identified the problem, so what do? You need to make a plan because you don't want to go fail. So this would tell you that, okay, I don't feel very confident, but what can I do? Instead of writing long, long thesis of what you are going to say, you can get cards and write points on it. Prepare. So, because when you prepare, you overcome these fears. So, maybe when you go into that situation, you would have fallen flat on your face, um, like it would have been, you would have gotten a 50% rating, for example, but because you took those steps, maybe people rate you at a 70, or even you yourself will say, oh, I felt comfortable. I'll tell you this, when I was working, we had to do a lot of presentations, like when we have conferences with our clients, like, social development directors and all that. And so you had to go make presentations. And before, I did toast, I was a Toastmaster in the early 2000s. But before that time, I used to be so afraid, quaking in my shoes and all that. But you know what I told myself? I said, don't sit and worry about a workshop or a conference coming up. Just prepare. You do your slides, you go through it with the manager, the other stuff. I never used to think about it till the day that I had to go present. Maybe even it's a 2 or 3 day conference and you are presenting on the third day. I'm not going to sit there shaking in fear, waiting. When the time came up, then I would do that. I remember one time, it was, I think we had made some policy changes and it was particularly difficult. So I had to do a part of it and I went to do it. And they didn't the client group didn't give me a hard time. I just did my presentation. I went to sit down. There weren't so many difficult questions, and one lady that I work with, she goes, oh, how come Yaa got off free? And this manager, he wasn't my manager, but one of the managers, he's very cheeky or funny. Then he says to me, oh, well, that's because people like Yaa. So he's implying that they don't like you, but her, they do. So they won't harass her. But anyway, that's how I overcame my fears, right? Yeah. And then also, you need to think about it, your fears as an advantage. What are they teaching you? Like, I am a procrastinator. So because you are sitting, oh, this thing is not getting done. Oh, what is going on? But as soon as you address it and say, no, today I'm going to do this, you feel better. So for me, even though some things are in the back of my mind, oh, yes, I know I'm supposed to do this, but I haven't done it, but I will do it. You make a statement to yourself, even if you've not written it down, don't forget, don't forget. So you can use your fears positively. It helps you to, if you don't address them, then you'll be stuck. You'll be stuck in a hole, in a rut, in a maze, what have you. But if you work on them, it helps you. You need to sit with your fear. Sometimes don't run away. How am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Then you go, oh, I need to get over it. You run out, oh, let me go and party with friends. So let's go do this. Let's forget. No, sometimes you need to sit quietly and say, why am I feeling this? Work through it, walk through it. When you come out through it, you'll learn a lesson. It will teach you something, most definitely. And then also, you know, fear makes you you make excuses, right, and put things off. So recognize the excuses that you make. Why am I not doing this? This needs to be done. Or even find somebody who can be an accountability partner and say, look, I have difficulties when I'm trying to get this or that. Would you mind checking in on me? I asked somebody, he knows who he is, book reminders, but we're on it. Yeah. And of course, breathe through it. These things that we're talking about, it leads to stress. I said in one of my other videos that everything, worrying, things that we do, if we're not careful, some are so bitter, some are so unforgiving, some are so angry, it shows up in your body. So, breathe through it. You need to be able to talk to yourself, manage yourself in such a way that when things come, you know where to put it. It's not to run away from the problems, but there's things that you have control over, others too that you don't. So learn to put things in perspective and live positively. Make yourself happy. And of course, how to overcome fears. Imagine the worst. What could possibly happen? And then you backtrack, you go, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So in a sense, you're wasting your time thinking about something that's not even going to happen. And the other thing too is don't try to be perfect. A lot of people don't try things because they want to be perfect or they want it to be a good time. If you always wait for a good time, you'll never get started. How long, do you know how long you have? You could be gone tomorrow, and there's something you should have done 3 months ago. You were waiting for a month later. So stop wasting time. Look, fear, a lot of lives have been put on hold because of fear. That's why I talked about it in the book, and this is the book again, and it's on page 95, 91. I mentioned that for me, my greatest fear when I was growing up was that my father would die early. My father was an Ashanti man. He would die early, and then the relatives would come and swoop in and take all his property. And then he would get married to another woman, and then stepmother would be tormenting us. I mean, no, if my father died early, people would come and steal, take their stuff, and would be poor. I've seen it when I was growing up. I saw it happen to families who were well to do, and then the father died, and then everything went sideways. And then again, if my mother died, then my father is going to marry, and then there will be the stepmother factor. So all these things, right? But when my father died, I was 35, and at that time, my younger sister was still in university. So I thought, hey, that is better than being a small child when your father passed away, right? So at that time too, we're old enough to stand on our own 2 feet. So for me, if anybody asks me what were your greatest fears, those were some of it. Yeah. So yeah, I've been here talking about fear. This has been Auntie Yaa'S book read, book club, and the topic today was from my third book, Refreshing for My Weary Soul, which you can find on Amazon. So if you are struggling with some of these things, fear, there's Auntie Yaa'S Own It Academy. We provide life coaching, women empowerment, and then also book publishing and coaching services. If you have a story that you want told, contact us and we'll help you put it in writing, put it out there to bless other people. A lot of times we feel that other people's stories are more interesting than ours. Yeah. And so we think that we have nothing to offer, but you are an answer to somebody's prayer. So, yeah, don't let your fear limit you. Be bold. Tell yourself you can do it. Don't try to do things in a big chunk, big swoop. Break it down. Take one little thing at a time. And when you accomplish the one thing, you're happy with yourself that, hey, I did this. At least if you've written it down, you can go tick, it's done. It takes a lot off you. And don't listen to people so much. Be careful who you have in your circle. I'm not saying be an island. These days, life is going so fast. There's a lot going on. Don't waste your time in circles which are unproductive, which do not help you to grow. They are all stuck there because of their fears. And how dare you try to become better than the group? There's a saying that if you are the smartest person in your group, it means you have to leave and find another circle. You need to be in a place where you get pushed and you get motivated. So don't be a fearful person. It takes courage to live life. You have to stare life in the face and say, I can do it. I'm here and I'm going to make my mark. Don't let anybody stop you. Yeah, if I had listened to naysayers, people who will clip your wings, squash you, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm encouraging you, get out there, get rid of your fears and be your best self. Thank you for listening. This has been Auntie Yaa'S with the book read, Fear, from my third book, Refreshing for My Weary Soul, which you can find on Amazon. If you're coming in later, you can take the video from the beginning, leave us your comments. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate your support. Take care and have a blessed Thursday. Bye for now.